Welcome back to another episode of The Zone Presents. I have Blake in studio. Blake Allen,
Hello.
boys and girls. Welcome in.
This is amazing.
This is.
I can't believe I made it. It's great.
Let's get it started. So, Blake, it's been a long time coming, my dude. I've known you for about 2 years now, I think. Give or take.
Well, I first met you when you were driving around a golf cart around AKE's parking lot, and I rolled in with Taylor.
That's right. I believe
You guys just had the Masters golf tournament or something like
we did. And I believe our last week's episode, Justice, was the winner of that. If I remember correctly. Stud golfer. But we're not going to get into that. We want to talk about Mr. Blake Allen
that.
today.
For sure.
Because there's a lot that we have to uncover today.
Okay.
So tell me a little about this past. I mean, you're not from Florida. You're from, what, the West Coast?
Oh, you seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes, I have.
Oh, literally, that's my house.
So you can throw a ball a quarter mile?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, grew up in northern Utah. Yeah, literally on the border of Idaho. So
Wow.
I grew up on a farming community. Worked on a farm. Like, growing up, I was the only boy.
No way.
Separated from my family. My sisters, because they had a dance studio, and I was trying to not just dance my whole life.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my dad had stuck together, and I started working on the farm, and then just athletics and sports.
Well, let's go back to that because I believe it or not, I grew up on a farm too.
Yeah.
But I want to know about that schedule because I remember mine. What was yours like?
Growing up on a farm,
Yeah.
so it wasn't that bad. I just had the crappy jobs, like flipping hay bales in the middle of the field in like the summertime,
Wow.
up until when I was like 8 years old. Then I started like 10 years old, like out there moving pipe, taking care of the cows.
Different kind of farm. Oh,
So-
pipe. Okay. We had like vegetables and stuff like that. So it was like that kind of setup.
Yeah.
Just tedious work, you know. And that work starts early. What was your day like back then? What was like the schedule? Like morning started at what time?
Well, I mean, these were like more of like after school chores.
Oh, gotcha.
So up until like middle school, they were just after school
Yeah.
chores.
But it gave you a foundation for sure.
Yep.
Hard work. So now we're 18. What are we doing? We graduate high school. Where do we go next?
18. So a lot of the principles that I grew up in a religious house. So we had a lot of principles of like faith and diligent, like, more like expectations. So we're always like in the church, we're doing that type of thing. Expectations was to be able to serve a 2-year church mission.
Yeah.
So I did that, and that's what I wanted to do my entire life. So I was raised like I was participating in the church. I was an Eagle Scout. Shout out to my mom. She's the one that did it for me, everything for me. So,
Shout out to Allen.
19, I actually served a 2-year church mission
Where we go?
in Arizona.
Arizona?
So, and that's actually what changed. Like, it was a pivotal point on my life.
Yeah.
I grew up, I got some perspective on life, realized like what I had was a lot better than what, I was like better than a lot of the people that we're dealing with.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I was on that.
I think that's not necessarily the whole point of that mission for what, the interviews that I've done in the past. But what I have found out is there's like a lot of clarity in life on those trips where
Yep.
you recognize like what you have is great and what you can give is even better, you know?
Yep.
So
And I had like a golden rule. I was always going to be obedient. I was going to basically stay like pretty diligent with my schedule.
Yeah.
The harder I worked, the hotter my wife was going to be. So
hey, it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out. So good for you.
Yeah.
And you got a beautiful family. So shout out to your family and your wife. So, all right. So now we're working. We got a real job now, right? Right after the mission.
I mean, I had a real job when I was 12, but
Oh.
all the way, we'll fast forward after that.
How about a career, like a 40-year career?
So I finished up with my mission. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not good at school. I hate school. I'm never the guy. I was actually
like they-
listening to a book this morning, and they mentioned Henry Ford.
Okay.
And I actually didn't know this. He finished middle school. Well, he finished the 8th grade.
That was it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So he was never the guy who had like the most education, and I will never say that I'm the smartest tool in the shed, but I have pretty good common sense, street smarts.
Yeah.
I'm always learning something, but me and school never got along. So school and college, sucked at it, didn't like it, still don't like school.
Yeah.
And so it took me a little bit longer than I wanted. But when I was first finished, like I said, my mission, my parents helped me out with my first semester. And then just like growing up, I was buying school clothes since I was 12. I had to pay for my own college.
Yeah.
So I had to find a solution, and it wasn't Papa John's or the restaurant or the loading trucks at nighttime,
Yeah.
like 3 different jobs to pay for like my schooling. I found myself with a friend who had worked for Vivint Smart. So that's what I did for a long time.
That was a good little transition then from your mission to then
Yep.
into the kind of similar field. Just talk about alarms. You know what I mean? So now we'll fast forward a little bit because I know that career, but let's talk about Blumio. So then, you know, not to bring up the golf tournament, but like what really intrigued you? What interested you about Lumio before you even came to the meeting?
So solar was a thing. Like, I mean, I had the itch to be able to do solar for a few years, probably when you were starting to do solar.
Yeah.
And so I was just doing security for a while. And so me and Taylor Taylor Burnett, we've worked together for since 2009.
Wow.
So in different aspects, different like divisions and offices and whatnot. But so I halfway through my Vivint career, I went back to school and I became a nurse. So I'm a registered nurse. I actually worked as a nurse and I did pediatric home health for about 5 years.
Very cool.
I was going out in the summer and I was like, I've got to try to find a way to be able to help my kids not move around so much and like leave every 4 months and go out and do sales. So I was looking for something a little bit more stable. So I went and decided to be a nurse, which was a great idea. And it didn't last more than 5 years. So I realized I don't want to just be the guy who pays bills and like, that's it.
Yeah.
I want to be able to set myself up for a future. So that's where I decided to start looking more into solar. So instead of working in just like healthcare, I basically just came over here to Lumio because I was talking to Jordan Melhoff and I didn't want to go to California. He's like, well, hey, we got this idea to be able to go and do this other like merge with this company called AKE. And so that's why I ended up in Florida.
That's interesting. Because then obviously the AKE thing, it was still AKE. You know, obviously when you came over, and then it's good that you got a little fast forward to what was going to happen, because a lot of people didn't really know that this was happening over the time that it was happening. So you got in. So anyways, now you're here. What's your first day like at Lumio? What was that like?
So I did not commit at first.
Okay.
So I had always gone out for the summers, right, with security. So I had committed with my wife, because she was still in Utah, that it was going to be a summer thing. So I showed up in May. I came out here for actually a trial run in April. And to be honest with you, I didn't make $1. So I came out here for an entire week. I was setting a lot of appointments. I didn't have any of them stick and I didn't sell anything. But because of the experience that I had with Vivint, I saw a company and I saw a structure that I could relate with.
Okay.
And I found a model that I knew that worked. I just knew, and I also saw my learning curve that I didn't hit.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different for every single person that's there. But like, I was setting appointments and didn't get anything. So I invested about $5,000 in Airbnbs, rental cars, flights for my wife, 3 kids to come out here for the summer before I had even made $1.
Wow.
So I saw the model that it worked. But my first day, I was just going out there. Connor Free was like, I was shadowing him, following him on his little scooter.
Yeah.
And we set some appointments but my first like account.
I mean, so what's cool is I think, your transition into our company was a little bit different than last week's transition for Justice. You know what I mean? So it's always good to get perspective of that first little like, hey, I'm here. Whoa, what is this like? Because I think a lot of times, especially if people first start out, or they came from a career that was like 40 hours a week in an office, or they came from, retail, whatever the case may be, whatever walk of life, when they step into one of our offices, they always have this like, whoa, this is way different than I expect. Because, we have a different kind of culture. We have, ping pong tournaments, stuff like that during a normal meeting, and we throw out incentives and hats and stuff like that, or shirts, whatever, just because, right? And so it is a different environment. So, did you feel a little sense of like, well, this is different when you first walked in, or was this something that you were familiar with?
No, it was familiar.
Okay.
So like I said, I've been in offices and structures for like the last 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And so I saw it. Sales is sales, but there's the learning curve that I had to get over. And that's where I was at. It was like more of a self-gen role.
So you knew the schedule, but the actual, I guess you say, the professionalism and the understanding and the research about the product is probably where we struggle the most, right?
Yep.
So then what did you do to really create this, like, I guess you could say this education that you got, because obviously you've been killing it for a while now. So like,
I just worked.
Worked hard.
So like honestly, that's what it comes down to. It's like
that farmer's mentality.
it you're not going to learn like Rome wasn't built overnight, but it was like it wasn't Rome, but it was a 2-week span where it was just like I'm figuring this out, and I slowly got better and better and better. But I think it was 2 weeks in, I sold my first account. It was just a self-gen, the single lady, like she'd been talked to before.
Yeah.
She said something was just a little bit different, but yeah, it was a self-gen that I did, and I always did this thing because it was like I was like, we make stupid money. It's not real. It's like we're making more than doctors and lawyers, and like so I would screenshot like calculate my savings like or what my commission was as soon as I finished that account, send it to my wife, and that was like, dude, this is so dumb. We are making too much money like to be able to like change anything. So I learned that my wife has a number. We all do. And she is amazing. She's been really, really supportive.
Yeah.
This job has been phenomenal.
And we've had her on camera. She's been great for that too.
She's cute.
Yeah.
Yep.
You did well. So now we're here. We're done well. Obviously, we know what's happened the rest of this year. We're gonna close out. So what kind of goals do you have in line for yourself and your team going forward, especially the rest of the year?
Yeah, we have a young office. We have a lot of really talented people. We're going to be splitting. So we want to split Connor and our team. We want to do 3 teams within the next couple months. And so that's what we've been working for. We've been doing really well for the sleep for this summer, like
super
consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take. So the goal for us right now is we got to be able to turn a lot of those younger talents that are being able to set accounts into self-gen so that they can be able to help be that pivotal leadership point for the teams that we need in the future.
Good. Speed of leader, the speed of the team is speed of leader. You know, that's what they always say. And you guys have been super consistent, especially in a quote unquote busy market, right? Like there's several offices that are in Orlando, and you guys consistently are one of the top offices week in and week out. So it says a lot about you and the leadership and C-Free and the team. So keep it up. So what are we reading? How are we improving? What are we doing for personal development?
Right now I'm reading Success Habits from Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
That's a good one. I just finished a book. It was a book by Chris Voss. He was an FBI negotiator.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember that book. We read Matthew McConaughey, Will Smith.
Green Light, right?
Oh, it's so good.
Good one.
Yeah. I'm going to give Matt. So those are some of the things I'm reading.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Any shout outs for the people back home?
Well, I'd like to just say a few words. We're grateful for Russo. He works really hard at this zone thing and he's really talented. We're grateful for all that he does.
Hey, money, I gotta pay him now.
Yeah. No, Taylor's my guy. We've been friends for a long time, and it's always good. We talked about this the other day, is that we don't always share our feelings.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to, and Taylor's a guy that we can go to like, I can vent, he can vent, and like it helps us through an emotional job.
Yeah.
So Taylor's been like, and my wife obviously, but he's the friend that we've had that's helped me through the situation and like helped me get better with the job. My wife is great. She's obviously the rock. She's helping our family and allowing me to do what I do for our family. But yeah, and then just O2. So they're all studs, and I'm excited, and I love everybody that I work with.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming on, brother. Mr. Blake Allen, everyone.